Hi everyone, Erica here with Fibersandfloss Canada. Welcome back to my next episode. I know it's been a little bit since I have filmed last, and that's because we had spring break with the kids home, and in BC that's 2 weeks, and then we had Easter break right after that. So there hasn't been a lot of time for stitching, but I have got some stuff to share with you. Today I have a fair bit of variety. I was contemplating whether or not to have knitting in this episode as well, but I do have a substantial amount of knitting, so I thought that I'll film a separate one for knitting today, and this one is just cross stitch. So if you're interested in the knitting one, that may be later on this week or sooner. Stay tuned for that. Today though, for cross stitch, I do have 3 whips that I want to share with you, and I have a really big finish. I have some haul that will play into my plans as well for April. It is my birthday this month, and I have a very exciting Mirabilia out of print chart that I am starting for my birthday this year. Also for Flosstoversity, we can talk a little bit about that, and I have whipped that wheel as well. So we can just dive right in. For Book of Days for 2024, I have been recording in this one here. This is my March month. As you can see, I was pretty busy in the beginning of March, and then towards the end things kind of just tapered off there with the kids all home. And then I keep my current whips on the column here as well. I was able to tick off one of my oldest whips this month, which was really cool actually. We'll talk about that soon. And then here's April. So I decorated with a bunch of new stickers that I got down, we talked about in a previous episode, I got down in Granville Island, and they're all kind of fairies. There's a bunch of toadstools and swings and stuff like that. So just trying to get back into it, just finding, you know, it's a little bit challenging with the motivation and stuff as we get back into the swing of, you know, kids being back in school and that sort of thing. So I wanted to change things up a little bit with my stitching. I found with the stitch along that we're doing for Year of the Dragon Cell, I've been stitching on that one a lot, and I've been trying really hard to push and get this big Mirabilia done. So I was feeling the need for something different, and what I decided to do is pull out a cross stitch, which was actually, I think, my 3rd oldest cross stitch, and this is by Owl Forest Embroidery. It's a free pattern, and I don't have the main cover of it, just the pages. So I'll pop a picture in here for you guys. It is 100 Owls, and this is one of their stitch alongs from a few years ago. I did end up ordering the kit from Owl Forest Embroidery, and I started that maybe about 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago or something like that. And I quickly got distracted and it went on the back burner, and I haven't really touched it. So this is, I'll put a picture of where I was on New Year's Eve. This was a stitch that I did pull out and stitch on for 1 hour. And then a picture of where I am now. So you can see I've actually started with the owl that's in the center. If we zoom out here, we can have a better look at this owl. This is actually, I've changed the pattern a little bit. So the pattern itself calls for just straight cross stitches. But as you can see here, I have embroidered the wing and the face just to give it a little bit more definition. I'll put some close-up photos as well while we're talking. You can also see with the other owl above, I also changed his face as well with the extra thread there. So what I did with this pattern is there are 100 owls in the pattern, and it's really neat because when I had ordered the kit, Owl Forest Embroidery included a list of, I've cut this down, but a list of all the owls. And so last night I was watching this little video on the long-eared owl, much like, you know, a video one of my kids would watch from National Geographic, just to learn a little bit about it. And it is known because of its long ears, but it is what they call an ancient owl that has been around for millions of years, because it's actually very well camouflaged. And it's not very studied either, because they're really hard to find in the wild, but they do migrate to the UK usually in the winter months. They are nocturnal, and they have a neat little history behind them. So if you're interested, definitely go ahead and Google it. I did think with changing, you know, the wing and stuff, I did decide to kind of mimic a little bit more what they look like in real life. I might put some pictures in here for you guys as well. When I had ordered this, what I'd done is reached out to my girlfriend Samantha, the Huga stitcher, because she was working at Lizzie B's, and I had asked her to grab me, well, I had some to show you, but I've misplaced one of them, to grab me some different flosses. So in ordering the kit, the fabric, I think the fabric's a 32 count. It looks like natural brown linen by Zweigart, but unfortunately Owl Forest Embroidery doesn't actually say who the, or what color of fabric you're getting. It is Zweigart. You have the orange stripe there. And then the called for variegated Owl Forest Embroidery threads is what I got with that. But in knowing I wanted to change this up a little bit, I did get Samantha to pick me up some watercolors. I don't have an LNS where I am, so I got her to kind of just pick out some and send them out my way. So this here, just to change the variety of some of the owls. So it's focusing okay. And then in addition to that as well, I got a couple packages of Whisper. I already had the white, but a couple of the brown too in there, just to give a different effect with some of them. So my plan is for any of the large birds to actually change one of the features with the birds. And then there are some small birds, some small owls. This one here, for example, you know, it's only maybe 7 stitches by 12 stitches or something. So I'm not going to change the little ones, just the big ones I think will be really fun. So in starting with the stitch long, when I pulled it out, this is actually owl number 1 and owl number 2 and owl number 3. So I probably will do a little bit more work on this one before I put it away because it is such a fun stitch. There's also a girl that I was on Instagram last night looking through 100 owls just to see the fabric choices other people had done. And there is a stitcher, I think she's from the Ukraine. I've talked about it before. It's Pro 100 Nikki, I think. I'll put it here. But she's actually completed this piece and framed it in a wooden frame, like a raw edge wooden frame. But in the piece, she's changed it a ton, and she's used roving and she's used beads and sequins. I'll see if I can find a picture, so I'll pop it in here. It's just absolutely amazing. She's a fantastic crafter. If you don't follow her, you should definitely go give her a follow for sure. Anyway, so that's my 100 owls that I'm working on. So hopefully I'll put a little bit more work on that tonight. Tomorrow is my birthday, so I'll be doing a different birthday start tomorrow, and I'm very excited for that one. So I think a lot of my time will be focused on that piece over the next coming weeks. The next one that I have for you guys is Dutchy Beauty. So we all love Dutchy Beauty, don't we? It is such a big piece though. It is, I think the finished is about 3 feet by 2 feet. It's very, very large. Here's the pattern. It's already looking so, you know, so loved, but it's, I think I'm on page 4 or something. It's ridiculous, right? So I've started here. I've done along the top edge. I've got to the middle, and on Whip That Wheel, last time I did pull Dutchy Beauty. And so I had hoped to get this whole page here done, but with the kids being home from school, I really only got the top half of it done. So I'll show you, here's a picture of where I was before and where I am now. So this is being stitched on a 40 count Newcastle linen, and I'm using the called for DMC flosses. It is so big. Okay, that's where I'm at so far. I'm right into the middle. This queen, she was so much fun to stitch. And they're so, you know, at a 40 count, and this thing's gonna be huge. Could you imagine? I've seen some people talk about doing it on a larger count, and I couldn't imagine. Oh, now I can't even see it at all. So I hope you guys can see it. There you go. So I did that little basket right here, and then this little cushion, and then the start of the next vase there. This one's a really fun piece to stitch. It's very large though. And the only downside in this for me was that, you know, it doesn't have a called for fabric. And so I went with 40 count Newcastle linen. I think a lot of people have chosen to stitch on that, but you know, you can kind of see in here, like some of the skin tones and stuff. And you know, they pick up pretty well on the camera, but in real life, you can't really see them that well. I know here, these birds and these trees in real life, they just blend right in. And so I did think about, you know, whether or not I need to be back stitching those, maybe just to make them pop a bit more. Hard for you guys to appreciate that when they it looks just fine on camera, but yeah, in real life, they kind of just disappear. So Dutch Beauty is really, really fun. Definitely enjoying it for sure. We know that it was stitched by a 13-year-old girl in Holland, and but we don't know her name or anything like that, just her initials there. So it's definitely a neat piece. We do have Dutch heritage as well, so I feel like it's a bit of a special piece for me when I am stitching it. The next thing I have for my WIP is my stitch along that we're doing with Samantha, the Huga Stitcher. So we're doing Year of the Dragon. I'm not going to talk a lot about, good morning, about this piece, because we have just talked about it. We are doing a video every month, or maybe it'll be less frequent. We'll see how we end up doing, but right now we're doing a video every month, and one month is on my channel, the next month is on Samantha's channel, and we're posting it back and forth. So I'll post a link here if you're interested. You can go watch the full video, but I just wanted to share my update here as well in case you're not following along with the stitch along. So here is my celestial dragon. Oh, I should show you. Do I really need to show this? I think you guys have seen it enough. This is the pattern here by Teresa Wentzler. And I am stitching it, of course, on that red 28 count Jobelan instead of the white, but all the other colors are the same so far. I'm having a lot of fun with this stitch. I actually pulled it out just the first week of April and worked on that for a little bit there. So I was able to add in the tail and part of the body and then part of the border here. And like I've said in the other videos, my plan is to do 25% of the main stitching, no back stitching or couching or the Kreinik mesh or, you know, the 1500 beads, the main stitching every 2 months. So I'm on track with that so far. If you're interested, definitely go check out the stitch along video. It's really fun because what we decided to do is actually share people's progress from posts people are making using our hashtag Year of the Dragon Cell. And it is so fun to see, you know, the progress people are making. There are still people joining us. And just the projects people are picking. There's so many projects that, you know, projects and patterns I've never even seen before, and some really, really beautiful projects, very talented stitchers out there too. So definitely a fun one to follow along. If you want to join the stitch along, you can join at any point in the year. You just have to stitch something that has a dragon. Super simple, open for everybody. The last piece I have to share with you today is a Mirabilia. And so this is a finish for me. The pattern here is called Tree of Hope. And this pattern is actually really fun. You know, initially I had started it, I think about 14 years ago or so with my girlfriend. We went on holiday and decided to pick it up and start together. And I did the top of the tree and I just blasted through it because it was so much fun and I love the colors. And you know, all the bright colors here, the orange, the teal, the green, those are all done in silk. And so of course you fly right through that, right? It was just so much fun. And then I got to the girls, and of course we've talked about this before with the 1/1 stitching for their skin, and that I really did not enjoy. But now I've done both girls and 14 years has passed, and I actually really do enjoy the 1/1 on the skin. Do I dare say that on my next one I probably will do the same. This pattern here, it's actually quite an old pattern as well. It was from 1990, Oh, I just read it, now I don't see it on here. I want to say, oh, I'm thinking about my plans, my new pattern. This pattern is MD 109, and so it must be early 2000s. It is stitched on 32 count natural brown linen by Wentzler with the called for DMC floss, Karen water lily silks, and beads, and there is no Kreinik. I thought there was Kreinik in here, but there's not. So here it is. I'll just zoom right in for you guys. The tree was so fun, those really bright colors, right? Lots of beads in there that you can't even really see on camera. Look at the very light green leaves. Those all have beads there. And then there's a peacock, and she has a lot of glass beads as well. And then moving down into the tree, you can see both of the girls. The one side here has a butterfly and a large flower. And at the very bottom, I think this was my favorite, was this little bumblebee down there with the variegated silk. It's such a beautiful color in the body of the bee. And then on the other side here is a slightly different flower with little butterflies up top. This pattern was actually neat because when I had originally stitched it, I thought to myself, I didn't really care for the flowers on the side. I thought, I don't know, I was really drawn to the orange in the center of the tree. And, you know, the two girls, it just reminded me of me and my sister that I grew up when I was young. And I don't know, the flowers for me, I like them, but they're not really my style. But then I read the back of the pattern, and I'll read it to you. And now I like the flowers from what I have read. It says, serene maidens harvest wishes from the tree with the lotus heart amidst intertwining leaves. Lovely whimsical dream flowers inspired by the arts and craft movement fill the garden. Stitch your hopes into the tree and watch them grow true. And so in looking at that, it is obviously quite clear that is arts and crafts, right? Art Deco there. And then in stitching that and finishing it, realizing that was the, you know, the thought behind it, I actually do like that a fair bit. So my plan for this one here is I am going to send it off for framing. There is a very special framer down in the States that I think I'm going to send that to and see what they can come up with. So hang tight on that and you'll see a fully finished object there. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if I'm sending from Canada to the States. Hopefully in the next 3 months I might get that back. I'm not sure. Okay, and then let's do my haul maybe. I'm just thinking of what to do next here. Just got a few things to move because I've piled everything on top of everything else. I've got one of my kids is homesick today and it's thrown me for a bit of a loop, so I feel a little out of sorts this morning filming, but that's okay. At least she's here and not at school. Okay, so I was watching Flosstube and I can't remember for the life of me. I even went through my YouTube history. I can't remember who was talking about this, but somebody had gone to, I can't remember if it was the Attic or one of the really good cross-stitch stores that I just dream of going to one day. And she had bought some books and she was talking about this one called The Proper Stitch. It's from Annie's Cross Stitch. And I thought, you know what, that sounds like an amazing book. And so even though to buy this book here in Canada is about $45, I bought it at Annie's for, I think it was $20 and shipped it to Canada. So, I mean, all in all, it was pretty affordable. Now this book is amazing because it has, I don't know if I can really show you guys, this is backwards here. It's a glossary of all the different types of stitches that you can do and changing threads and problem shooting. And at the back of the So for me, I've been watching Nicola Parkman and some of the band sampler presentation she did recently, which was absolutely stunning. And I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'll see if I can find it. I'll put it on the screen for you. There's a sampler by Hands Across the Sea where it is fully reversible. The front and the back are identical. And for me, I'm always just trying to, you know, learn something new, become a stronger stitcher, just kind of expand my knowledge in terms of cross stitch and all sorts of stitching and fiber arts. And so when I look at just even the cover here, it makes me think of the band sampler presentation that Nicola Parkman did, which was very good. And it makes me want to stitch this. I mean, if you look closely, look at the different stitches there. It's just beautiful. And then if you know, the more you learn about the different types of samplers and the history behind it, the more it just leaves you thinking you definitely want to stitch one of these sooner than later. Here's some different techniques in the back of the book too. So what's really neat about this book is in the back, there's two different samplers. And this first one's called the Proper Stitch Sampler. And so the pattern for this is in the book. And I don't know if you can see it okay. And also all the stitches are in the book too. And then there's another one. So I think it's really neat if you were to tackle one of these just to kind of expand your stitching repertoire. Look at this one. It has some hardanger in the bottom of it there. And a very dated rose lily bush. And here's another one, the Pinky Sampler Project. Look at that vase in the middle and those band sampler flowers at the top. Ah, another lily, look at that. Alphabet. And of course this one has a hem stitch, you guys, which is something I was watching Cardamom Pins, and she had an amazing project that she ended up doing the hem stitch on, and I thought, oh, that's something that I definitely need to learn to do. And that the instructions for that are in this book as well. So I'm definitely gonna take some time to sit down. I've kind of flipped through it, but I wanna actually really go through it. There are a ton of stitches in here that I don't know, never even heard of. Some that I recognize and some that I know. So I think that's definitely a very cool book to have for sure, and something I'm sure I'll use over the years. The next thing I have for cross stitch haul is my birthday start. So I was looking, you know, I finished my, when I was working on the Mirabilia, the Tree of Hope, I was really craving some of that nice block stitching. You know, Mirabilia always, Laura Corbett, when she designs, she has, the dresses just have these amazing, like an amazing flow to them, and blocks of stitching. And sometimes, you know, when I'm stitching a couple Wentzlers right now, and those ones have a ton of confetti stitching. You know, then I was stitching that Tree of Hope, and you know, it's not confetti, but it definitely is like 4 stitches here and 3 stitches there. A lot of thread changes, and it just left me wanting to stitch a nice, big, colorful, bright dress, one designed by Nora Corbett, because I just really wanted that nice, relaxing, you know, stitchy flow. And so I thought, okay, great, well, which pattern should I stitch? And I've done a few of her older ones, some of the big ladies, and I'm really drawn to the older patterns. So it came down to 2 different patterns. The first one was Athena, goddess of wisdom. I'll put a picture in here. I really like this pattern for a couple of reasons. I think it would really sort of scratch that itch of some nice big block stitching in the dress, some nice bright colors. And so I like the orange, the yellow beam that kind of goes over the head there. And if you look at the finished project, if you actually Google this one and see people's actual stitching, it is beautiful. You know, it's funny, these pictures never do any sort of justice to the real thing, right? The actual stitch project is so much nicer in person. So that was one, and that one is still readily available. You can purchase it at many different stores, and it is a larger stitch as well, and one of her older ones. The second contender there was one called Fairy Idol, and I'll put a picture in here. And now this one, initially I liked it and I thought, oh yeah, you know, look at the dress and all that block stitching will be fantastic. But then I was worried, you know, the color's too soft. You know, how do I feel about the big chandelier up top? And I've done one that required a lot of beads and jewels, and it got very expensive. Yeah, I wasn't too sure, but Fairy Idol grew on me. And it was almost like the moment I found that this pattern was out of print, I knew it was the one I wanted to stitch. Of course, I don't know why it always works that way. And so I thought to myself, okay, well, I'll do one of the two for my birthday in April. And what I'll do is, you know, I don't want to pay $200 for an out of print pattern. It's just crazy. And so well, not for me. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But for me, I'd have a hard time justifying that. And so I thought what I will do is put a post up on a couple of our Canadian Facebook groups, and just to see if anybody might have one of these patterns that I can buy. I don't mind paying a little bit more for it, but I certainly don't want to, you know, pay $200, and then quite often with these eBay, you know, shipping to Canada is another $20, and I just thought I'd try my luck. And so I put a post up, and I think within a day I had a lovely lady say, oh yes, I have that pattern, I've stitched it, it was a great stitch, I'm done with the pattern. If you want, I'm happy to sell it to you at a reasonable price. This is amazing. So I jumped on that, and it turns out she's close. She's like a few hours drive from me. So she popped in the mail, and I got it within just a couple days. So the pattern I got from her, unfortunately, it is missing the cover photo here, but that's okay. The pattern itself is in pristine condition. So this one here is actually MD21, and it was designed in 1996. It is currently out of print, and it is beautiful. There are so many. There's 6 different beads and 2 different metallic threads, and there are silks, and then there's also some whisper. There's some blending filament, and then of course you have all your DMC as well. And this one here, the called for is a 32 count water lily linen by Whitchulds. And overall, you know, the stitch count is 247 by 309. So it is kind of a larger pattern. And previously speaking with any Mirabilias, I've always done the called for fabric. And this time I thought, you know what? I really think I want to do something a little bit different. There was a write-up I read about her, but it's not on the back of the pattern. I was going to read it to you guys. Well, I wonder where I saw that now. Oh, here. Maybe it is here. Here it is. It's Fairy Idol. Wings at rest, a young wood fairy enjoys a private moment in her 4-poster bed, surrounded by topiaries, stone angels, a steadfast bunny, and moss-draped chandelier. She's one fairy that's fun to stitch. And looks lovely in any bedroom that's decorated as tastefully as hers. Yeah, so anyways, I thought very fun. I have gone ahead and ordered some fabric that is different. I wanted something a little bit dark and moodier. I know there is some dark stitching there, but anyways, I have ordered some fabric, and I'll show it to you guys here. I have actually, see if I've got a label here. So I did picture this plus. It's a 32 count Mirage. It's a Belfast linen. And I'm not holding up right away because I actually have all the floss and beads on the inside of it. So if I open it right up, I'm gonna lose it all. But that's a little bit brighter than how it is in person actually. So I'll put a picture with the floss toss for you guys up here. In the picture, the color is actually very true to color. It is like a very mottled bluey gray with like a hint of purple in there. So I'm very, very excited to start that. My plan is I'll be stitching that on my birthday all day and share my progress with you. So I was talking with Samantha and we have a question for you guys. We were talking about doing a video for Mira March, and I want to know if you guys would be interested in seeing something like that. You know, we've thought about, you know, do we do a video talking about Mirabilias? Samantha has done so many. I think I've done 4. I think I've done 4. I might have more in my box downstairs. But gosh, I think Samantha's done like 20. She's done so many. And so, you know, we do definitely have our method, and our method is very similar of how we start a Mirabilia, how we kit it up, where we start. And so we want to know if you're interested in a video reviewing that. And if so, we'll definitely film one of those for you guys. It could be a lot of fun. Speaking of other videos, I also have my Flosstoversity. So for this week, I'm going to be talking all about linen, and next week I'm going to try and film one immediately after for next week for even weave, and of course Jobelan and all the others there too. And you know, it's really fun to go through these things because even after so many years of stitching myself, I'm learning stuff that I didn't even know. And I always find, you know, I'm eager to learn from other stitchers and, you know, pick up any sort of tips and tricks along the way that can just make me a bit of a stronger stitcher. So I hope that you guys are enjoying these episodes. There's only 2 so far, but we'll have 2 more in the next week or 2. And then that will kind of cover most of the fabric that we use for cross stitch, and then I'm going to move on to different ways to start your cross stitch and different stitches to use and how to anchor your floss, etc. I think it'd be really cool to just kind of work through from start to finish, you know, different techniques and how to really learn to cross stitch. There's so much out there, so much more than even I know. So if I can share what I know with you guys, I think that would be wonderful. The last thing I want to do as well is whip that wheel just to see what we do come up with here that I can work on over the next couple weeks. I do have my parents visiting in town, so I don't know how much stitching I'll get, but between that and my birthday stitch, I should have some time for a little something extra. So we can cut over to whip that wheel. Okay, that's exciting. So it's pulled up Greenhouse of Oddities, and this cross stitch is by Lola Crow. It's, you know, it's a good way to kind of work on some of your stitches that may be a bit more seasonal that you know, choose not to work on this time of year, but actually log some stitches. So this pattern, let's see if I get it here for you. This is a cross stitch that I started last October for Halloween. It was my Halloween cross stitch. And there's 6 pages, and I think I'm into page number 4 of 6. And I'm hoping to actually finish that this year. So I'll show you where I'm at on it. It's going to be, it's going to be wrinkled, but that's okay. This was stitched on Picture This Plus too, and this is very soft. This is a 28 count Lugana, and the color is Haunted, but this is super soft. So this is where I'm at. You can kind of see there. This is a really fun stitch. It's super bright. Look at this little guy. You see him there okay? Maybe I'll, hold on. I can't see the camera and then I don't know what I'm showing you. And it's not pinned up, but this little guy is really fun. So this is where I have left off. So maybe what I'll do is see if I can finish that page. I'm very close to finishing it. And then the last 2 are just the inside there. That'll be a very fun stitch to do. I have it stored in one of my project keepers that Samantha and I sewed together at the cabin this summer, and it is a lot of fun. The pattern for this is from Tiger Lily, and so if you guys are interested in finding a keeper that works well for storing your stuff, this is the one that I had made with her. And I've got two projects in here. I've got a Quaint Rose Needle Arts as well as the Lola Crow. And how fun is that? Have you guys seen Sam's latest video? She just, you know, she's worked so hard recently and she's made herself a new stitchy space, something that she's dreamed about doing for years. And it's beautiful. It's a nice blue room and she's got all her cross stitches up on the back behind her. You know, I watched her latest video this week and watching it, I was just like, oh, what's on that shelf? What's over there, right? I want to go snoop around and see what she's got and all her little cubbies and everything. It looks very fun. A good place to stitch. So if you haven't seen that, pop on over and give her a watch. I think that's all I have for you guys today. So I will be filming another video just on knitting. I thought maybe I'll keep these two separate for now. And if you're interested in the knitting, you can hop on over and watch that one. And if not, that's totally fine. Keep your eyes peeled for the next Flosstubeversity and go check out Sam's new space. Have a good day, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye for now.